Boas pessoal, estamos aqui com o Nightcraft, em exclusivo para a comunidade de Artstyle Portugal. Vamos fazer algumas perguntas. Vocês não conhecem muita coisa sobre o artista, mas vão passar a conhecer. Hey there, how's it going?
I'm good, man. How are you?
All good, all good. So, first things first, you already arrived yesterday. You had a party in Lisbon.
Yes.
How was that for you?
It was good. Actually, it was like a crossover event between techno and hardstyle. So we had like techno artists and hardstyle artists. And for me, it was quite an experience to see the techno audience, and just a different vibe. But it was really good. It was actually less phones, and yeah, it was a great party overall.
Okay, awesome. That's really good to hear. So, how would you compare this last party in Lisbon to the two previous ones you were here in Portugal? I know the first one is a bit special because it was a boat party, but how would you like compare with the other two?
Like as you said, the first one was really special because it was like on a boat in the sun in the Portuguese Sea. So like it's one of a kind experience. So if I leave that one out and take a look at the last one that we did, I think the last one was like more of a bigger dedicated hardstyle crowd, like a full-on hardstyle party, which we had like, of course, the build-up as well from like I think like from melodic techno, tech house to hardstyle, and ended up with Evil Activities playing a hardcore set. So I cannot really compare those two from yesterday and like the one we did in March, but I think all the parties in itself have their own unique flavor to it, you know, that is an experience every time. And yesterday was for me like a really different experience than the one before, but in a good way, you know. So okay, that's cool, fair enough. And we're going to go a bit into your past as an artist, but just before that, you're fresh off of two releases, Hollow and In My Head. So how was the reaction from your fans? Do you think it's been good for your latest releases? Yeah, so this week I released In My Head, and it is my last track of this year, the 11th track release of this year. And I just made a track that felt close to me, you know, like I didn't do anything special or anything different. I just did my own thing, and I saw a lot of reactions that hey, finally a second melody drop again, and finally an art melody again, you know. And reading all those messages is doing me, like, it motivates me a lot. And also the reactions online and the reactions live is really good. So yeah, it keeps me like gives me energy to do like more and more and more, and I just want to keep developing my own sound, my own style, and keep doing what I do. And I think keeping true to my own stuff will bring me further than trying to explore more, because I think nowadays it's already difficult enough to stand out because there's so many artists. So I think if you stay the same for long enough, you become special eventually, you know. So I think this release made me realize that even more. So I'm really happy that it gave me this conclusion.
Okay, awesome. And not only that, but 11th release, talk about consistency there.
Yeah, it's like for some reason I don't feel any pressure to release because I think at the moment I will feel pressure. It becomes more difficult for me, and I wanted to I wanted to stop releasing this year after my 10th release. So I said it to the label manager of Scantrax, and they were like, no, you can do one more. It's like, okay. So I did one more, and that was In My Head. So I was already playing it for a few months. So I was like, yeah, it's already there. People know it already a little bit, so why not, you know? And I'm really happy in the end that I did it. And like I said, I have a really good workflow. I don't have any producing pressure. So I think that works for me. Like, I go in the studio, I just do my thing, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, I go out of the studio, play video games or something. And yeah, I'm really just lucky, I think, that I have a really fast workflow. So if I'm in like a creative, how do you say, like hyper focus, I can make like a track in like a couple of hours, and then I will do the rest later on. But most of the skeleton of the track is like finished in a few hours, and that's it most of the time. So yeah, like 11 tracks sounds like a lot, but people expect a lot these days. So, but still, it's a lot. It's like one each month, you know. So I'm happy about it though.
Okay, cool. It's a lot, especially due to the fact they're high quality. So congrats for that. So yeah. So now we're going to go a bit back in time. Some of our followers do not know, but you're actually in the scene for many years.
True.
You started like 20 years ago, almost.
Almost, yeah. Oh shit, yeah. That's harsh on me. Almost 20 years. Yeah, I started producing 18 years ago, and I started making. The first things I started making was like 90s gabber, like maybe for the first 6 months, and then I discovered the CD's explosive car tuning, and my dad was already listening to that kind of music and to gabber and stuff. So he was playing like the old explosive car tuning CDs, and I heard jump style for the first time, and I was like, I want to make this too. So my dad downloaded Fruity Loops, like a really old version, and I started just trying stuff on there. And like after 1 year, it started to sound like a little bit like music, and my friend said like, hey, you have to do something with this. So like after one and a half year, I sent my stuff to DJ Furox, and he was like, okay, let's do the first release on my label. And from there on, I just kept going, and yeah, it's like I did the first 10 years of my career was, I think I had my first gig in 2008. So I did like jump style, freestyle for 10 years first, and then I switched up to hardstyle because I did some tracks on Fusion. Sorry, scan tracks. I think. No, it's okay, man. There's no bad conflicts, you know. I think I had a Fusion release in 2017 or 2018. I don't remember. Yeah, it was. I think it was called Victory or something. And then Rejecta started playing my hardstyle tracks, and Detox started playing it. And then I was like getting a call from Scantrax. Hey, like, do you want to release on Scantrax? But you have to change your name because we don't want to have the jump style affiliated name on the label. So yeah, that's where it like shifted. But yeah, I go way back in the scene, like almost 20 years. Yeah, it's insane.
So you touched upon a subject I was going to ask you about as well, but I wanted to ask first, you started with jump style. So how was it like being a jump style producer and DJ in Holland? I'm imagining that took a lot of trips to Belgium because probably that's where you had most of the bookings. How was that? How was the scene in the Netherlands?
The scene in the Netherlands for jump style was actually not good. You had one big club in Rotterdam. I forgot the name, but most of the parties for jump style were in the south of the Netherlands, where I luckily lived. So if I had a gig in the Netherlands, it usually was on a festival like Decibel or Defcon, or like in a small club in Breda, where Pat B was resident as well. But yeah, like most of my weekends were spent in Belgium or in France, and like you said, everybody, when I started out being a jump style producer, most of the colleague DJs thought I was from Belgium as well, especially because I developed a really good Belgian accent. So they were like, you're from Belgium, right? No, I'm from Netherlands, but yeah, I travel there every weekend. It's like, I mean, I live in the south of the Netherlands, so like a trip to Belgium was like maximum 1.5 hours to the gig. So, but yeah, it's like, if you were saying in the Netherlands being a jump style DJ, they were like, what is that even, you know? Because in that time, everybody was like house DJ or like urban or whatever, you know, and I was like jump style, so.
All right, so, and how do you feel about jump style nowadays? Do you think the genre got stuck in time, or?
I think it got stuck in time, yeah. There's still being released really good jump style tracks on Pat B's labels, and I'm sure there's more labels. But I think because of the uprising of techno, I heard some old jump style tracks being played at techno parties. and people will label it as techno, but I know it's old jump style tracks. So I think maybe the genre itself is maybe it needs some refreshing maybe, but I think it's getting a new uprising because of the techno boys and all the techno artists that plays that, and also hardstyle. You know, it's getting the tracks a little bit more bigger audience, which it deserves in my opinion, because jump style is fucking sick.
I would agree, yes. So let's go a bit forward in time. So how did it happen, that shift to hardstyle? At which point did you realize you wanted to just go over to hardstyle?
So I started listening to hardstyle a little bit more in 2015, 16, 17, and also it was the uprising of more freestyle, like with events like Pussy Lounge and the big stages at Decibel. And what freestyle was is more like happy hardstylish melodies with like just jump style or kind of hardstylish kicks, and it really gave me more creativity, in my opinion, to do something with a track as a whole. Like I could put more of a story in it. So in my latest Royal S releases, you will hear like I did a thing with all the countries. I don't know if you know that, but I did like country team tracks. Not country, the music style, but like different, like a Mexican team, Italian team, Russian team. And I noticed that it gave me so much more creativity options. And during that time, also the producer from Delusion, Max, lived with me in my house. And they were doing hardstyle, of course. So I got along with that scene a little bit, and started to make more hardstylish tracks and send them out to hardstyle DJs, and they started playing it. And then I was like, yeah, maybe this is what I want to do, and it felt right at the moment. And then I just switched it up, you know, the name and everything. And yeah, that's kind of how it went. It was like I can put much more emotion in this because I'm sure if you check my Royal S tracks and now my Nightcraft tracks, it's like, oh, this sounds like a story, and this is just like, you know, happy jumping, you know. So yeah, I think it's, for me, the biggest reason for the shift is the emotions that I can put in the music. Okay, cool.
So at this point, Scantrax ended up reaching out to you and not the opposite. Was that the case?
Yeah, so the manager of Scantrax is a good friend of mine that he used to do parties as well in the Netherlands, and he used to book me as my jumpstyle artist name. So he did a party called Madhouse, and I played a couple of his parties, and then he noticed that my style went a little bit more hardstylish, and that I got support from artists. So he just gave me a call one day and he said like, hey, I saw your track on internet. What do you say? Let's get a drink and talk about if we can do something together, and that you join Scantrax. So yeah, that's kind of how it went. Because of course it took me still 1 year to find a name. So it was like, yeah, it was like a difficult process. And yeah, then I did my first 2 releases, I think, on Scantrax Silver, and then COVID happened, and yeah, just it's already 5 years.
Yeah, it's been for a year.
Yeah, I think my first Scantrax release was 2019. Yeah, so 5 years already.
That was GTFO, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
After that was Treasure. Yeah.
Okay, I saw one of your previous interviews, like I think a year ago, and one thing you mentioned is like that you like to have contrast in your tracks, like the rough part and the melodic part.
Yes.
Do you think that sort of stuff is lacking in the scene in general as of now?
I think what's mostly lacking in the scene is diversity, I think. I mean, there's a lot of diversity in between tracks, of course, but there's not enough diversity in the artists, because I think there's a large amount of artists that do exactly the same thing, which for them works, and that's fine. But I think as an artist, you should always try to stand out and try to keep true to your own sound, I think, or at least try to find your own sound instead of copying. So, like you mentioned, I really like contrast, and I still do. Like in my latest track, you can hear like a really hard mid intro and 3 different melodies. So it's like there is a lot of things happening in the track, but for some reason it still feels like one, and that's the thing I like most about my own music, though. But I think it gives a sense of uniqueness or something. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, I'm still all about the contrast.
Okay, sounds good. And talking a bit about your releases, you recently collaborated with Regain. You guys did a track that for me deserves top 10 this year, to be honest. So how was it like doing a collab with another person that's been on the scene for so long and is considered a legend by so many? How was the creative process there? How did everything come together?
It's actually a funny story because I was charging my phone at Intense and in the artist lounge, and Pavel Regain came up to where I was sitting because he was also wanting to charge his phone, and he sat down, like charged his phone. I was like, "Hey man," he was like, "Hey man," and then he just started talking, and I was like, "Hey man, I love your stuff, and I'm doing the Polish Punisher and doing more older sounding stuff, and I think we should do something together." And then he walked, we exchanged numbers, and then he went away, and I was sitting with Devastate, and he said like, "What the fuck, did Regain just ask you for a collab?" And I was like, "I don't know, I think so." So yeah, after that I texted him, and on Monday I went to my studio and I made like a concept, like the melody and with the vocals and stuff, and I sent it to him, and he was like, "What the fuck, dude, this is perfect." So then he sent me the first drop, and yeah, we just like keep sending stuff over. We even tried to put the track like a little bit higher note or lower note, but in the end, like we kept it how it was, and we finished the track in like 1 week. And I think for me, it just captivates how I think a track should be. Like it's really rough in the beginning and in the end, and it's like really melancholic and euphoric, maybe even in the middle part. The melody's uplifting, but still like it has energy, and I think it's like a perfect blend between our styles.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I really love the track as well, and I think it's a really good blend of your guys' styles. Speaking of another collaboration, the one you did with Chapter 5 was pretty interesting, and I don't think there's ever been a collab between a Scantrax artist and a Spoontech artist, like 2 very different worlds. How did that came about?
So I have to be correct in this one. I think we started following each other on Instagram because I like what they did, because they bring that kind of, they have a more funky style on Spoontech. Like Spoontech is a really rough label, like really deep, dirty sounds, almost like the old Elite sound, and I like that they stood out a little bit from the rest of the guys. So I followed them, they followed me back, and we started talking on Instagram a bit, and then they posted something really nice on their stories, and I was like, maybe we should do something together, you know, and they were like, "We were just about to ask you that." So I was like, okay, 1 + 1 makes 2, you know. So yeah, we sat down a couple of times, and in the beginning it was like the process was like really difficult because we have such different styles, and then I just started to make a melody, and I was like, okay, if we have the melody, we have something to build around from, you know. So then we asked Tanya to do the vocals. So we had already like the vocals good to go, the melody is good to go, let's build around that. And I started making screeches, and they made the kicks. And I think at the end it's like a blend of all our sounds, and it actually was, and it still is, like a really interesting track. And also the working process, they're really good producers, so it's like it's always fun to work with guys that have a completely different style than me.
Okay, all right, that's pretty awesome to hear, and ended up being a very interesting track, I think. One thing I wanted to ask, I realized at some point, due to an Instagram story from you, I think, that you actually handled management and the bookings yourself.
Correct.
From 0 to insane, how crazy was that?
Yeah, maximum insane, because it takes a lot of time, because I have a regular job for 40 hours, and also, of course, the producing, and meanwhile also handling your own bookings and stuff. So what I did was I had like a really nice Excel spreadsheet with everything in there, like all my contacts, everything, and I just like was my own booking agency basically. Like I just had to talk to promoters and everything and send them my new stuff and like the stuff that booking agencies usually do. I did it myself, but it took way too much of my time, too much of my stress, all the contracts, and like now I'm with Baseline, so they handle everything, and I'm really happy about that. So for me, it's like one less thing to focus on, so I can focus more on producing and like the social media thingy, because it's like super important as well. But it gives me more freedom for some how to say it, like gives me more headroom to think about important stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfectly understandable. And judging by your Instagram stories as well, you're really influenced by Japanese culture. You love Pokemon. Do you think that impacts your productions in any way, or?
Well, I still want to make like a track with Japanese influences, but like I usually never find a fit for it. But I think my love for Japan and like the culture and stuff isn't necessarily impacting my style of music, but maybe impacts my way of looking at some things. Like they're really how do you say it, like focused people, and I think I'm the same in the studio, like really focused on what I want to do. So maybe one day I will make a Japanese influence track, but for now it's just, you know, my hobbies, and I like Japanese games and stuff, and I like to go there as well. So yeah, for now it's just like a hobby of mine to collect those stuff and watch those stuff and it's just nice.
Okay, sounds good. Let's go for a bit of trivia questions. So top 3 crowds for you.
Top 3 crowds. Oh shit. Let me think. I think the after party at DEF CON Blue, the Scantrix after party, is for sure in my top 3. Mexico, and I'm not sure which one in Mexico I have to put, because I did one small show and 3 bigger ones, but like the small show was, I think I'm gonna put the small show in Mexico City, also in my top 3. And I think, shit, man, this is really difficult. It's a really difficult one because it's a lot to choose from, and I think on number 3 I'm gonna put DEF CON 2011 as Royal S. It was really nice, yeah. Because, oh shit, I want to add an extra one, Reverse main stage as Royal S also. It was just insane, it was really nice.
And DEF CON back then was like the brown stage probably?
Yeah, it was the brown, and I was super lucky because the brown stage was next to the red. But it started raining during my set, and the brown was like covered tent, so it was like, and I was like, oh shit, yeah. So I was,
okay, that was really good.
Yeah, that was really good.
Okay, sounds good. Wildest thing you've seen on a crowd while performing?
Wildest thing. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to 2000. I think it was 2009. Yeah, 2009 or 2010. I was playing at a festival in Belgium. And I brought one friend of mine, and at some point there were like 5 or 6 girls, and they were just with the tits out. And my friend was like my guy friend, and he was like doing the same. And one of the girls had like a marker, and they were like, just like sign, and I was, okay. So that was fun. And also, I did a festival in Belgium called Adrenaline, and it was a festival in a theme park. So they did like festival stages on like the squares within the theme park in Bobbejaanland. So it was for all ages as well. So you saw like little kids in the crowd, and that was like on the shoulders of their parents, like dancing. So that was really, really fun. So I think seeing those kids like in the crowd is also a really good experience for me. Maybe not the craziest, but like a strange, nice experience.
Yes. Understood. Yeah, that should have been pretty nice.
Yep.
Last question. If Ronaldo was here today, what would you say to him?
One word only.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's all the questions I had for you. Hopefully our audience now knows you better. A quick word for your Portuguese fans.
Muchas gracias por afición.
Okay, that's a great one to end this interview. Nightcraft, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you too.
And hope you enjoyed tonight your set.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you, man.